Hey everybody, a little bit of an update on my Atlantis 1957 Cadillac Eldorado. Now this was originally a Revell kit, and you could still find those out on eBay once in a while, but Atlantis did get this tool and rolled with it, and it's not a bad kit. It's just different because of the age. It's different than what we're used to. So, gluing the two halves together, as you can tell from my first video, this piece and this piece were the two separate halves. And then I wanted to make sure that I can glue those together, get a nice bond before I actually put the interior in. The interior is just sitting in there, so it comes in and out quite easy. I've had to do a lot of hand detail painting on the bottom. So since the bottom is body color and that, this will be considered kind of a restored model or restored car. So I'm not going to put a lot of work in it. That's why I didn't redo the exhaust pipes, because I could have dremeled those out and then ran that hollow tube, that flex tube I got. But this is just going to be like one of them nice little shelf sitters, just a fun little kit. But so I went with a light baby blue and tan interior. I am going to do a lot of detail painting on that as well, some dry brushing and everything, but it definitely is going to be toned down quite a bit on that. And on the bottom I'm going to do, the detail painting on that. Now weather it just real little, just to make it look a little bit more real and hide some of the imperfections, because I didn't do a whole lot of body work on there. I left all the names and all that stuff on there. This was just supposed to be a fun kit. Now one thing I will share about this is the back seat. See how you almost can see that edge right there? You really want to get that work down in there and clean out the holes that those pins sit into. And the reason being is if you don't, it'll sit like that. You'll see that through the window and it will look awful. So you really got to make sure that's cleaned up and in the right angle before you glue it down. So do a lot of test fitting on that, because if you don't, it's not going to fit very well. It's going to look awful. These door panels and stuff like that, you can kind of see you need a little bit of dry fitting on those as well. But everything is not glued in yet, so I can just pop these out and pop that seat out. So on the first video I said I don't know if they will sit in there. Once I had it all glued together, I was afraid that the interior piece would not go in, but it does. And Atlantis used a red plastic to do the parts, and there you can see it. And I really wish the model manufacturers would stop doing that, because when they add all that pigment into the plastic pieces, you lose a lot of the ability to glue two parts together very strongly. It makes a very weak bond because of that dye, and because of that, this would not glue together very well. I used multiple different types of glue. So I first started with this. This to me, it usually bonds stuff together super well, especially if it's styrene or anything like that. It's nice and thick, and then when you put the two together, you kind of go like that, and it usually melts that stuff really good. This had a hard time doing it. It worked, but it still broke. And certain areas after I bonded it together, if like midway, I'd get it wet with that so it would wick in there, and even that didn't want to do it. So then I even tried this stuff, and it's a lot like It's almost in between the orange Tamiya and extra thin. It kind of gets a good melt going, so you can get a nice bond, and it stays soft for a little while. So it ain't like super instant like the green Tamiya where it dries instantly. This had a hard time doing it. So one of the longest things I was doing that was getting that seam together, and there's some spots that's actually still quite weak. And so since that is such an awkward seam, let's see if I can get in here, show you. So on this back side of the seam, right there, I added some styrene in there. And usually I do that on any kind of, like as a butt seam where two pieces are butting together. And I added that in there just for some backing. And I'd get that, you know, real wet on the glue and kind of wash it back and forth just to get a nice bond. That worked, but it's still not as strong as I wanted it, so I did that on both sides. I did it up in here, I did it back down through here on both sides, so at least the seam is reinforced, but you know, you only can do so much at a time. You gotta let it cure. So I'd do that, let it sit overnight, come back the next day, and then be like, well, it still needs a little bit more. So I'd work on them certain spots, but it was real weak. And then also, since that glue didn't want, or the red plastic did not want to bond so well, it left that seam there. Now I would have normally filled this, but I'm not too worried about it because this is supposed to be a chrome piece. So I am going to take this thin styrene like this and glue it on there, because it is a relatively wide seam, or wide chrome piece. And I just hope it ain't too wide. But the reason why I want to use it is it's super thin. So it's super thin. It might be wider than it should be, but you know, that don't look too bad. And then I'm going to just glue that on with super glue. And then I'm going to use bare metal foil. Let that cure for a while, and then I'm going to clear over the whole thing. So that way it's actually bonded in there. But that's about all the farther I am on that one. I've been taking my time on it. Not putting in detail, I just been letting that paint cure. Letting it sit on the side. Because it did want to be pretty tacky for a while. And I'm also got a lot of stripping all the chrome, because I want those chrome pieces to match. I want those to all be the same. So I want to strip them and paint them and then put clear on them. They needed a little bit of cleanup, but not too bad. But the one thing is these side panels here, they were not chromed, but all the rest of the chrome was. These pieces should have got on the chrome tree if they wanted to do it right. So that way this chrome and this chrome and this chrome would all be the same chrome. If I would leave this chromed, this chrome and this chrome will not match at all. So this piece here is not going to match this because it's going to be bare metal. This is going to be paint, so this will match this. But so the only thing I have that won't match is that, and it'll come out pretty darn close. But it will not come out the same as if I left all that other stuff chromed. So that's my ideas on that. So there is where I'm at on the 57 Cadillac. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Until next time, I'll talk to you then. Bye.